السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
I can pull out notes inshallah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. We're continuing inshallah with the Yajuj and Majuj, the appearance. And yeah, I was doing a bit of research on this. And SubhanAllah, there's just so many, there's a lot of denial around this issue because, well, these people appear to be very, very, well, in a sense, supernatural, right? In a sense, not normal. So a lot of people have denied the Yajuj and Majuj based on the grandiose reports and how, what they're gonna do. Yeah, they're gonna like basically consume everything and drink from the river and from the lake and all that, right? For example, here, the two tribes will appear, and these are people, yeah, they're tribes. Some weird opinions again have come around, like them being like, I would be like zombies or weird things, right? But here, the two people will appear at the time of Isa alayhi salam, after the Dajjal. Allah will destroy them all in one night in response to the supplication of Isa alayhi salam. Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reports that the Prophet said that every day Yajuj and Majuj are trying to dig away, right? They begin at sunlight, they see sunlight through it, sorry, then they stop and all that. They continue to dig, and next day they start again, but it goes back to where it was till one time they will say, Inshallah. And this was, subhanAllah, so important is to say, Inshallah, that even for them, this will be accepted, and now they'll basically get out. Interesting because Inshallah is what didn't allow for the revelation to come, specifically with regards to Surah Al-Kahf. Okay, specifically Surah Al-Kahf, which protects around against the Dajjal. This is a connection, right? As we know, when the Prophet ﷺ was asked about the things in Surah Al-Kahf, he forgot to say, or he didn't say, Inshallah. And then the revelation didn't come. And here we have Yajuj and Majuj basically saying, Inshallah, finally, and their work being completed and them getting out. But then Isa alayhi salam, as we know, will make dua, they'll basically die. And by this, there'll be this worm that will enter in their neck, and they will be killed by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah said, and Allah will send a kind of worm, they'll be killed by it, by him in whose hand is the soul of Muhammad, the beasts of the earth will become fat. And Yajuj and Majuj said that they're groups of Turks. The fathers of Turks, one of them sons of Nuh alayhi salam. Okay. Now there's, I told you there's a hadith that is, I think, Hassan hadith that says, leave the Turks as long as they leave you. And al-Atrak, Atrak, Turk, Atrak, yani the ones who should be left alone. And in Arabic, Tarak, وتركوك قائمة, Atrak, Utruk, leave him alone. Utrukhu, leave him alone. So some have done that play on words and have explained it. They're the ones who should be left alone. The Turks. I don't know if you who's interactive with Turkish people. Maybe they wouldn't like this when they would hear this, right? But yeah, there is this concept that they're hard to deal with. This is a time Abraham, Abraham alayhi salam. There's a king called Dhul Qarnayn. He performed tawaf around the Kaaba with Abraham alayhi salam, Ibrahim. When he first built it, he believed in him and followed him. Dhul Qarnayn was a good man, a great king. Allah gave him power, and he ruled the east and the west. He held sway over all kings and countries and traveled far and wide in both east and west. He traveled eastwards until he reached a pass between two mountains through which people are coming out. They did not understand anything because they were so isolated. This was Gog and Magog. As this is what's reported in the Quran in Surah Al-Kahf. They were spreading corruption and harming people. And then he basically, the people asked him to protect them from Yajuj and Majuj by building a barrier. And he built a barrier by mixing iron, copper, and tar. He restrained Yajuj and Majuj through this barrier. They tried to penetrate the barrier, climb it, but no avail. They could not succeed because the barrier was so huge and smooth. So they began to dig. And they've been digging for centuries. Now, this is where people get all weird about it, because how come they're alive? They digging for centuries and this and that. And it's simple. Well, because even if they're humans and they're a tribe, because Allah wills so. Allah allows it for it to happen. Okay? That's it. Like, we don't have to be all philosophical or rational about it. You understand? That's just as simple as it is. Because Allah wills it. Like, how about rationally? Well, because yeah, they could over time. Yeah, they're a tribe, they're behind, they're still living, they're still surviving, they have food maybe. How, I don't know, they're still in an area that maybe they could hunt and they can get food, they can cultivate food, they're still living together. They're having children, some are dying, some, their children are coming through, they're still doing it, they're still continuing that digging as a generational work. So, an irration is not like there's something wrong. You know what I mean? So cannot deny just because you think that it's irrational. There's nothing irrational about a tribe living in an area where they could reproduce, and there's a generational sense of mission. Yeah, that we have to get this, dig in this. Right? Imagine any um, a tribe or a nationality or ethnicity who has like a mission that's transmitted through generations. I don't know, the protectors of, I don't know, something, right? Like the Kaaba, for example, right? That the door of the Kaaba is with one tribe and only one tribe. And it's a mission for them over the centuries that they're the only ones who will be protectors of the Kaaba and who will hold the keys to the Kaaba. What's so hard to believe that over the centuries this has been passed on? Yani, so there's nothing irrational, but I always say that if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills something to happen, it will happen. Okay? Even within human beings. For example, again, just from Surah Al-Kahf, the Ashab al-Kahf, the people of the cave, they're just human beings, yani, but Allah gave them a miracle to fall asleep, to be in the cave for 309 years in the cave. And that's who survives for 309 years? No one. Illa yasha Allah, except if Allah wills. Okay? No. Okay, let's go down. Chapter 22, the destruction of the Kaaba. So enough with Dhul Qarnayn and the Yajuj and Majuj. We're going to move towards another important sign, and that is the destruction of the Kaaba. So far, in the last few lessons, we're talking about Yajuj and Majuj, Isa alayhi salam, and of course the Dajjal. Yani. Over a span of two lessons, we did the Dajjal. Now we're moving towards destruction of the Kaaba. And by the way, the Kaaba has been destroyed before, rebuilt, destroyed. Some people used to believe that maybe that's one of the signs, or that um, Yom Al-Qiyamah is near. So at the end of time, Dhul Suwayqatain, we talked about this, will come from Abyssinia, will destroy the Kaaba in order to get the kiswa, the treasure, the clothing. It's very expensive, by the way, to make the kiswa, because the yellow writing that you see is gold. It's actually gold wire, right? It is gold wire, so it's very expensive, very, very expensive. That huge cover. Um, the Kaaba is the ancient building, which was built by Abraham. Foundations were built by Adam. The tafsir of ayah until Yajuj and Majuj are let through was reported from Kaaba al-Ahbar that al-Dhur Suwayqatain will first emerge at the time of Isa alayhi salam. Allah will send Isa, and he will be at the head of a vanguard of between 700 and 800 people. They're marching towards this person. Allah will send a breeze from the direction of Yemen, which will take every soul of the believers. Only the worst of the people will be left, and they will begin to copulate like animals, a'udhu billah. And at that time, the hour be at hand. Abdullah bin Amr said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ say, Dhul Suwayqatain from Abyssinia will destroy the Kaaba, steal its treasures, and the Kiswa. If it is as if I could see him now, he is a bald-headed and a distortion in his wrists. He will strike the Kaaba with his spade and pickaxe. This is reported in Ahmed. Let's go down. Obviously, as we know, this has been something that's been for a long time, since the time of before, when the Prophet ﷺ was born, the people were trying to destroy the Kaaba. And there's another hadith here about, we mentioned last time also, about the Abyssinians to be left alone as they leave you. Okay, meaning there are people you shouldn't mess with. Leave the Abyssinians. So as long as they don't disturb you. It's kind of like the same hadith almost as leave the Turks as long as they leave you. Ibn Abbas reported the Prophet ﷺ said, it is as if I can see him now. He is black and his legs are widely spread. He'll destroy the Kaaba stone by stone. The Prophet ﷺ said, the hour will not come until a man from Qahtan appears and rules the people. The man could be Dhul Suwayq, someone else, because this man comes from Qahtan. Other reports say that he comes from Abyssinia. And Allah knows best. Even if there is some difference in the reports, you have to understand, we discussed before, sometimes a hadith from different narrations might have some contradiction. That's why you have to put them together, okay, and see. Abu Huraira, the Prophet ﷺ, said that the day and the night will not come to an end until the freedman called Jah holds sway. This could be the name of this Suwayqatain, and Allah knows best. Could be. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The point is that there will be. It will happen. Umar al-Khattab reported that he heard the Prophet ﷺ say, the people of Mecca will leave and only a few people will pass through it. Then it will be resettled and rebuilt, and the people will leave it again and no one will ever return. Right? And in Mecca itself, that we know that it will be destroyed. Now, let's go down. Okay. Medina will remain inhabited at the time of the Dajjal. It's been proven in the Sahih Hadith that the Dajjal will not be able to enter Mecca, Medina. There'll be angels at the gates of Mecca to ward him off and prevent him from entering. It's reported by Abu Huraira that the Prophet ﷺ said, neither Dajjal nor plague will be able to enter Medina. It's mentioned above that the Dajjal will camp outside Medina and every believer and Muslim will stay. That day will be called the day of purification, Yawm Khalas. So those who go out to join the Dajjal will be women. As the Prophet ﷺ said, verily Medina is good, its evil will be eliminated, and its goodness will be obvious. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, women impure are for men impure, and men impure are for women impure, and women of purity are for men of purity, and men of purity are for women of purity. Surah Nur. Medina remained inhabited during the days of the Dajjal and during the time of Isa alayhi salam until he dies and is buried there. Then it will be destroyed. So we know that Medina will be the burial place of Isa alayhi salam, and many of the ulama have said that there is a spot right next to the Prophet sallallahu where the Prophet sallallahu is buried. That's where he will be buried, and Allah knows best. And Allah knows best. Umar ibn Khattab said, I heard the Prophet ﷺ say, a rider will go around Medina and say, there used to be many Muslims here. And this is reported by Ahmed. So you can see the timeline is quite long in this hadith, right? The wording of the hadith and how it is. It's not very specific in many things, but does cover a specific topic that Medina will be destroyed at some point. When and how is kind of told us, but when specifically in the timeline, well, we know that at some point someone will pass by it almost as if like it's a relic of a long past history, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, Petra, for example, in Jordan, right? Oh, wow, there used to be people who lived here. Now we just visit and look at it and admire and take some pictures, right? This writer might stop and take some selfies and then be like, wow, there used to be many Muslims who used to live here. Okay? And Allah knows best. Let's go down. The emergence of the beast. Amongst the signs of the hour will be the emergence of the beast from the earth. It will be very strange in appearance and extremely huge. One cannot even imagine what it will look like. It will emerge from the earth and shake the dust from its head. It will have with it the ring of Sulaiman and the rod of Musa alayhi salam. Okay? People will be terrified of it and will try to run away, but they will not be able to escape because such will be the decree of Allah. It will destroy the nose of every unbeliever with the rod and write the word kafir on his forehead. He will adorn the face of every believer and write the word mu'min on his forehead, and it will speak to people. So this will be a beast, an actual monster. Now again, people will be like, oh my God, wow, really? It's funny again that people are willing to watch all kinds of weird movies on Netflix and all that. Avengers and whatever League with all kinds of demi monsters and monsters and weird. And they're like, wow, that was such a cool thing. Yeah. Right. But when we read sometimes, Hadi will be like, oh, how is this going to happen? Come on. Yes, there'll be a monster. There'll be a monster. He'll have these things. He'll write. Okay, he'll kill people. He'll write things on their heads. People will try to run. They won't be able to escape. And then he'll actually speak to people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Naml, and when the word is fulfilled against the unjust, we shall produce from the earth a beast to face them. It will speak to them. Surah 27, verse 82. Ibn Abbas, Al-Hassan al-Qattada said they will speak to them. Okay. تكلمهم. It will speak to them, mean that it will address them. Ibn Jarir suggests that it means that the beast will address them and with the words, for that mankind did not believe with assurance in our signs. Later part of that ayah. Ibn Jarir reported from Ali and Atta from Ibn Abbas that tukallimuhum means that the beast will cut them and it will write on them the word kafir for the disbelievers and mu'min for the believers. It also reported Ibn Abbas said means they will dress both them and cut them, meaning write on their forehead. No, and Allah knows best. We've already mentioned the hadith of Hudayfa ibn Usayd, which stated the Prophet ﷺ is reported to have said, the hour will not come until you see 10 signs. The smoke, the Dajjal, the beast, the sun rising from the west, the descent of Isa, alayhi salam, Yajuj and Majuj, the three landsides, east, west, and one in Arabia, at the end of, let's go down, at the end of the fire, which will burst from the direction of Yemen and drive people to the place of the main assembly. Funny, because all these places that are mentioned in these hadith, all of them, um, Yemen, Syria, Palestine, Arabia, all of them have major conflicts and have had major conflicts, fire, landslides, issues. So, I mean, the hadith could have mentioned, I don't know, some other places in different lands, but nope, that's exactly where they were mentioned. It's exactly where things are happening. Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu said, the Prophet ﷺ said, hasten to do good deeds before six things happen. This is in Sahih Muslim, the six things. Okay, Barida said, the Prophet ﷺ said that he took me to a place in the desert near Mecca. It was a dry place of land surrounded by sand. The Prophet ﷺ said the beast will emerge from this place. It was a very small area. It was reported from Abu Hurairah, the Prophet ﷺ said again that the beast of the earth will emerge, and this will have the rod of Musa, the ring of Sulaiman, and it will destroy the noise of the unbelievers with the ring. And that the people were sitting around the table or a place will be addressing themselves with either al-kafir or mu'min. It's funny because politically incorrectness today tells us that, oh my God, even in America, it's funny. Even the Muslims are very scared to call people kafir. They say it's derogatory. Of course, it's because you're kafir. you disbeliever. You deny Allah's rule and revelation. So yes, it is derogatory. You're a kafir. In places like South Africa, okay, and certain other um, African countries, you can, if you say to a Christian or a non-believer, a non-Muslim, kafir, it's like very derogatory. They get super upset. And believers or Muslims, and even non-Muslims, they use it to diss each other. Abdullah bin Amr said, I memorized the hadith from Prophet ﷺ, which I have not forgotten since. The first of the signs, the hour that appear will be the rising of the sun from the west and the appearance of the beast before the people in the forenoon. Whichever of these two events happens first, the others will follow immediately. This is in Sahih Muslim. So that, go down, please. This is to say that they will be of the first of the extraordinary signs. Then the Dajjal, of course, the descent of Isa alayhi salam, Yajuj and Majuj, okay, and so on and so forth. But the emergence of the beast, whose form will be very strange, addressing the people, classifying them as kafir or mu'min. Now, yeah, in Malaysia as well, I know that it is a little bit of uh, it's a bit of a political incorrect. Yeah. The Turks mentioned in Hadith refer to people in Central, North, and West Asia. Yeah, it seems like so. It seems like they're the original Turkic people. Now, the original Turkic people, mostly Central Asia. Those are the original ones. The ones that we see in Istanbul and so on, they're a mix of, right, European, actually, Albanian, Bosnian, Macedonian, Greek, and so on. They've mixed. But the typical Turkic ones will be the ones in Central Asia, kind of. And Allah knows best. Let's go down. Rising the sun from the west, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, are they waiting to see if the angels come to them or thy Lord? For certain of the signs of our Lord, that they, certain of the signs of our Lord do come, no good will do to a soul to believe in them. Then, if it believed not before, nor earned righteousness through its faith, say, wait ye, we too are waiting. Surah Al-An'am. It was reported from Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, the Prophet ﷺ said and explained that it refers to the sun rising from the west, as reported by Imam Ahmad. Abu Hurairah said the Prophet ﷺ said, the hour will not come until the sun rises from the west. When the people see it, whoever is living on earth will believe. But that will be at that time when no good will be anymore. It doesn't matter. This is Al-Bukhari, right? It was such a huge event that is obviously such a miracle, yet such a strange thing for the sun to go from the other side. There is a scientific thing happening where polarity is changing. The poles are shifting magnetically. I'm not sure how and why, but it is something they can look into. That would mean that if north and south are shifting and switching, that east and west will also shift. So, yes, it is something that has been reported in the scientific community. But anyway, Allah will make it happen anyway. Doesn't matter whether it is scientific or not, or it's the miracle. No. The hour will not come until the sunrise from the west. This is reported by Bukhari. It was reported from Abu Hurairah, the Prophet ﷺ said, the hour will not come until the sunrise from the west. When it rises, the people will see it, they will believe, but that will no good deed will make any matter. No good will it do to a soul to believe in them then. This is reported by Bukhari. Also, the Prophet ﷺ said, no good will it do to a soul to believe in them then, if it will not believe before. No righteous deeds anymore. Okay. So again, rising of the sun, the Dajjal, and the beast of the earth, these are three signs that are very important to remember. Okay. Which one comes first? Allah knows best. So it seems that it's not only the rising, because we usually know that nor good deed will be accepted anymore, or belief will be accepted till the sun rises the from the west. However, it seems that no, it's also the Dajjal coming and the beast of the earth. And Allah knows best, but it says three signs actually. Abu Dhar said, do you know where the sun goes when it sets? I said, I do not know. Very important hadith here. He said it travels until it prostrates beneath the throne, then asks for permission to rise again. But a time will come when it will be told, go back when you came from. That will be the time when no good we will do to a soul to believe. And it will be believe if it didn't believe before or earned any righteousness through his faith. This is Hadith Bukhari. Now, this hadith has caused doubts in many people, and people have criticized it because, like, how does it go under the throne of Allah and this and that, make sujood? Oh my God. And why are people so irrational and so silly? Of course, it can go. Where and how and this and that doesn't matter. It is a supernatural event that is described in relation to it making um, sujood. Now, Allah says in the Quran very clearly that everything make tasbih to Allah, the birds, everything, every living thing. ولكن لا but you don't understand tasbih. You don't understand its tasbih. You don't understand. So how does it make sujood and worships Allah? You don't understand. How will it do this? You don't understand. They don't have to understand. That's the problem with humanity that we're like, no, we have to understand everything. No, you don't understand. There's certain things you just don't understand. And you'll never be able to understand. Till today, in science and everything, there's certain things cannot be understood. But people are so arrogant that when they read a hadith like, they're like, oh, and people have left Islam because of this hadith. SubhanAllah. I remember reading some of this stuff just because of this hadith specifically, right? And making fun of it. It's just they're so, sorry, stupid because their arrogance got them so, they're back in their backs that they believe, no, how can this happen? Oh my God, what does it have? Get some hands and then they make sujood in the head. No, you dummy. It's just in the same way that all the things they make tasbih of Allah, and Allah says, but you don't understand it's tasbih. Same thing, the sun will do this in a way that you don't understand that. And you won't see it. Definitely you won't see it. It's not like someone took a selfie and be like, hey, I just saw the sun making sujood. It's got some hands and a forehead. No, no, you dummy. That's why these people really annoy me. They really, really, really annoy me how dumb they can get. And that's why sometimes you just have to insult them because they put themselves in the position that they think they know better than Allah and the Prophet ﷺ. And that's the arrogance, that's the original sin, arrogance of shaitan, thinking that, well, what do you mean I have to prostrate to Allah? It's funny because it goes back to prostration, to sujood, right? Where shaitan denied prostration. So, as shaitan exited Islam through sujood, so do these people exit by denying sujood in this hadith. I've seen people leaving Islam, man, just from this hadith because they're like, oh, it's authentic. Oh, I can't really believe this. It's so silly, right? SubhanAllah. They're the only ones who are silly. Amr ibn Jarir said the Muslims were sitting with Marwan in Medina, heard him say, whilst talking about the signs of the hour, that the first of them would be the appearance of the Dajjal. Three went to Abdullah ibn Amr and told him that they heard Marwan say concerning these signs. Abdullah said, Marwan has not said much. I memorized a hadith like that from the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which I've not forgotten. And then he mentioned the same three signs. Now, then Abdullah, who was widely read, said, I think the first to happen will be the rising of the sun from the west. Every time it sets, it goes beneath the throne, prostrates itself, seeks permission to rise again. And a time when it comes three times, will seek permission and will receive no reply until when we're part of the night's past. And it realizes that even if it were given permission, it would not be able to rise on time. It will say, Oh my Lord, how far the rising point is from me. What can I do for the people now? Then it will seek permission to go back. And it will go back. Okay? Go down. Some scholars interpret rising of the sun from the west as meaning Islam will appear in the west as strong as it was in the beginning, and the people of the west will carry the flag of Islam. Allah knows best. I don't even know if this is the actual statement of Ibn Kathir. Ibn Kathir radiallahu, Allah knows best. But I take these things literally. Why? Because that's how language is, first and foremost. Literal. Okay? Literal. And by the way, a lot of people have denied this hadith because they'll be like, how can if the sun rises from country to country, right? When you go, for example, when I fly, sometimes I fly with the sun, and the sun is like basically rising, and it doesn't rise. If I'm flying from the east towards the west, around Fajr time, it's almost like you can't really pray Fajr, but you have to pray Fajr because the sun is like moving with you almost. Okay. So people be like, well, how do we do it? Every like half an hour, every hour, right? It rises, rises. It doesn't matter. It's relative. It's relatively speaking to whatever place it is. In this case, we're speaking about Mecca, Medina. It's relative. It doesn't matter that it will rise and it rises how many times around the globe. It doesn't matter. That's not the point. If people are so, again, ahead of themselves, right? They just think that they're smarter than Allah. Astaghfirullah. That's the arrogance that gets them to be called kafir. Okay, kafir, kafara. Okay, now let's go down. Okay, the smoke. Mashrukh said while a man was giving a speech among the people of Kinda, he said there will be a smoke on the day of resurrection, which will deprive the hypocrites of their hearing and sight, but the believers will only suffer something like a cold. We were terrified, so we went to Ibn Mas'ud, who was reclining. When he heard about this, he became angry and sat up and said, O people, whoever knows a thing, let him say it. But whoever does not know, let him say Allah knows best. This part of knowledge, when one does not know something, subhanAllah, to say Allah knows best. Look at their humbleness versus the arrogance of the kuffar of today or the Muslims who are misguided. The Prophet ﷺ said, No reward do I ask you for this Quran, nor am I a pretender. Quraysh were being slow in embracing Islam, so the Prophet ﷺ prayed against them, saying, "O Allah, help me against them by sending 7 years of famine like those of Yusuf alayhi salam." They were afflicted by a year of famine in which they were destroyed and ate dead animals and bones. They began to see something like smoke between the sky and the earth. SubhanAllah. SubhanAllah. Abu Sufyan came and said, "O Muhammad, you came to command us to keep good relations with our relatives. And your people are perished, so pray to Allah to relieve them." Go down. Then Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anh recited, Then watch thou for the day. Sorry, go up. No, no. Then watch thou for the day that the sky will bring forth a kind of a smoke plainly visible, enveloping the people, this will be a penalty grievous. They will say, Our Lord, remove the penalty from us, for we do truly believe. How shall the message be for them, seeing that the apostle explaining things clearly has already come to them, yet they return away from him? Tutored by a man possessed, we shall indeed remove the penalty for a while. Truly ye will revert to your ways. Ad-Dukhan, Surah Ad-Dukhan, and of course, Dukhan means smoke. So Ibn Mas'ud was one of the great Mufassirin. He explained, will the punishment in the hereafter be removed so they can go back to their kufr? So he's explaining what it actually means, telling that that's not what they were saying that it means. One day we shall seize you with a mighty onslaught. We will indeed extract retribution. Surah Dukhan. Then Surah Furqan, and soon will come the inevitable punishment. So he explained it. And look at the knowledge and look how they made tafsir with ayat of the Quran. Tafsir of the Quran with the Quran. That's the first form of tafsir. Okay, let's go down. And that's how the Sahabas would do. Alif Lam Mim, the Romans have been defeated in a land close by, but they, even after this defeat of theirs, will soon be victorious within a few years. Surah Rum. This speaker's suggestion that the main idea of smoke will be under their resurrection was not a good one. That's what made Ibn Masud angry. But the smoke will appear before the day of resurrection. It'll be one of the signs, which are the beast of the child, the smoke, the Gog and Magog, and so on. So these are the hadith. Abu Hurairah and other Sahabas indicate. Now, and the fire which will appear before their resurrection will burst forth from the direction of Yemen, Aden, which is an actual place. Aden is on the Horn of Africa in Yemen. Drive the people to the place of their final assembly. It will move with them and halt with them. It will devour anyone who lags behind. Go down. Again, all these places are real. Other events which will precede the hour was reported by Abu Sa'id al-Khudri. Prophet ﷺ said, thunderbolts will increase so much that the hour approaches that a man comes to a people, asks who amongst you was struck by a thunderbolt this morning. They'll say so and so, so and so. Huh, that's crazy. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. As you see, I was just looking at some videos of people getting struck. There was one guy who was fishing. There's a video. He got struck twice by a thunder, twice within like minutes. They're literally in like this pond and they were fishing. It was raining and he got struck once. Then he like recovered. And then he got struck again. SubhanAllah, twice in a row, right? Can you imagine being struck by lightning, right? They used to say this as a statement, like, so you struck by lightning as like something will never happen. But this hadith says that it will happen so often, and now you see videos are emerging of people being struck by lightning. Go just do a research on YouTube. You find so many videos, so many reports of people, and actually not just reports, like videos actually recording people being struck by lightning. Allahu Akbar. Heavy rain before the resurrection. Abu Huraira reports that the hour will not come until there will be heavy rain, which will destroy all dwellings except tents. Why all dwellings except tents? I don't know. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. You would think that tents will be destroyed, but no. It might be that Allah wants us to go back to those basics. Okay. Now, let's turn to some hadith that, yeah, it's in line with the hadith, for example, where we know that technology is not going to work anymore. We might be going back to like horses and swords and stuff like that. And Allah knows best. It was reported from Abu Hurairah that Prophet ﷺ said, the hour will not come until the following events have come to pass. People will compete with one another, building high buildings, which is definitely happening. Two big groups will fight one another, and there will be many casualties. They will both fight, be following the same religious teachings. Okay, it looks like there will be Allah knows best. But Muslims' earthquakes will increase. Time will pass quickly. Afflictions and killing will increase, definitely. We know for sure. Nearly 30 Dajjals will appear. Well, definitely, we've had a lot of that. Each of them claiming to the Prophet ﷺ, definitely. Or sorry, a messenger from Allah. A man will pass by a grave and say, would I be that I was in your place? The sun will rise from the west. When it rises, the people will see it and they will all believe, but none will be of any good news or any avail. No good will it do to a soul to believe in them. And a wealthy man will worry lest no one accept his zakah. SubhanAllah, imagine that. That money will be so prevalent that it doesn't matter. Zakah will be like, no one will need it. There's a report from Anas. The Prophet ﷺ said, amongst the signs of the hour will be the following: knowledge will decrease and ignorance will prevail. Let's go down. Fornication and fornication and drinking will become common. Definitely. Knowledge has gone down. Definitely, there's a lot of people who have no knowledge. Definitely fornication, drinking. Number of men will decrease. Number of women will increase. Okay, definitely. Even just in power and in like presence. The man will look after 50 women. Um, I was reading a statistic in America about how many men are actually available for women. It was about certain value and certain, but it was actually a numbers game that the person did statistically. And guess what it was? That for each man of certain value, there's 50 women. I swear to God. I swear to God, it was like that. Uh, it was Dr. Orion Terabane, who did that study, and he was talking about it. I heard the Prophet ﷺ say, day and night will not pass away until people begin worshiping Lat and Uzza. 100%. It's already starting. Said, oh, Messenger of Allah, I thought that when Allah and Uzza revealed the ayah, it is He who has sent His apostle with guidance, religion of truth to proclaim over all religion, even though the pagans may detest it. It implied that this promise will be fulfilled. The Prophet ﷺ said, it will happen as Allah wishes. Then Allah will send a pleasant breeze with which will take everyone who has as much faith as a grain of mustard seed in his heart. Only those with no goodness will be left, and they'll revert to the religion of their forefathers, being kuffar, basically, in Arabia, of course. By the way, there's lots of shirk and evil things happening already. It's from Abu Hurairah that one day the Prophet ﷺ was sitting with the people. Bedouin came and asked him about Iman, Islam, and he asked, O Messenger of Allah, what will be the hour be? He said, the one who asked about it does not know more than the one who asks. But I'll tell you the signs. And it says, when the girl gives birth to her master, or when the slave gives birth to her mistress. But it's to her master, actually. And the barefooted naked becomes chiefs of the people amongst the signs of the day of the hour. There are five things which no one knows except Allah. Then he recited, verily the knowledge of the hour is with God alone. It is He who sends down the rain, and He who knows what is in the wombs. No one, nor does anyone know what is that he will earn. Go down. On the tomorrow, nor does anyone know in which land he will die. ولا تقسم نفس ما ولا تدري نفس ما تقسم لغد ولا تدري نفس بأي أرض تموت. الآية إن الله عليم حكيم. Indeed, Allah is knowing, wise, aware. And the man went away. The Prophet ﷺ said, call him back to me. But when the people went to call him, they could not see anything. So the Prophet ﷺ said this was Jibreel alayhi salam who came to teach the people their religion. This hadith is muttafaqun alayh. The barefooted and naked paupers will compete with one another in constructing high buildings. Definitely. You guys know they're building now the Kingdom Tower in Saudi. It's going to be bigger than Burj Khalifa. Means they'll become chiefs of people, they become rich. Their only concerns will be competing, constructing high buildings. Sadaqa Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. How many times should we say Sadaqa Rasulullah? Meaning he has spoken the truth. I mean, I don't know, even if you just hear this one hadith, wallah, you will believe. You will believe in Islam. This is the only hadith I would know. I would believe in Islam after visiting the Middle East. This is the hadith, as we shall see later, that I will not come until the happiest people in the world will be the depraved sons of the depraved. It was reported from Abu Sa'id, the Prophet ﷺ said, the hour will not come until the time when a man will leave his home and his shoes or whip or stick will tell him what is happening to his family. Now, this hadith is really, really interesting. And I'll stop with this because his shoes or his whip or stick or something will tell him what's happening. Yani, yes, there are shoes who speak to you. You can connect it to your phone and it'll talk to you. Phones, mobile phones, selfie sticks, all these things can be easily interpreted that they will tell you what's happening. Alexa, ChatGPT, like easily you can see. Like I can only imagine when people are hearing this hadith for the first time, how they were interpreting and thinking of it. But for us today, yeah, come on, where like your watch will speak, your in your pocket, your phone, right? It's ajib, subhanallah, wallah, ajib. Right, let's stop here, inshallah. Um, I have to go pray, but we'll meet next time, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanak Allahumma bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
عليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.